Last night, under the primetime lights of Monday Night Football, I think the Baltimore Ravens just sent a message to the rest of the NFL. What is that message? Well, you'll have to stick around to find out. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Look how icy Lamar looked out of the game. So excited. And you know what? We had a blast going live last night. 93,772 people joined us on our live stream. We go live for every single game. We're right now sitting at 23,065 subs. Our next milestone is 24K. Do it for Kobe. Okay, we're 935 subs away from that. So if you haven't already, best place to be if you're on YouTube and you're a Ravens fan, go ahead and hit that sub button. All right, so why did they send a message to the NFL last night with that game against the Chargers? Well, number one, I think this defense might be rounding into form. I truly do. And it looked a little scary after the first drive of that game, okay? Because Los Angeles marched down the field 9 plays, 70 yards. And that emoji right there, that was exactly how I was feeling. I remember we were on stream, and everybody's kind of like, I mean, not everybody, it was me and just another producer, but like we were all looking around, and I could tell all the live chats like, what is happening? Because you had the good defensive performance against Pittsburgh, and then you came back and you just let that happen. But the next 7 drives against Los Angeles, 43 plays, only 154 yards. And this is an offense that's been absolutely clicking over the last 4 weeks. And then they had a little garbage time touchdown the last drive of the game, which, you know, you're playing, like you're just trying not to let anything go over the top of you. You're playing soft coverage. It's like, I don't really blame them for that. But, man, that 7 drives in the middle of those first 2, absolutely stellar defense. And this pass defense specifically is what I want to look at, who has been stepping up. Because these last 2 games, they've allowed a completion percentage of only 61%. They're allowing only 211 pass yards per game, 0 passing touchdowns, and 1 interception in the last 2 contests. And, man, if you know, and if you've been watching the channel, you know how I feel about this pass defense. That's fantastic improvement right there. So I got a question for you before I continue talking on about this defense. Has it figured things out? Has Zach Gore, the rest of this defense, the secondary, have they figured things out? If you think yes, go ahead and give me a Y in the comment section down below. If you think no, go ahead and give me an N. You might get hit with a YouTube ad break coming up, so if that comes, take advantage of that time. Scroll down. This will be the pinned comment on today's question or on today's video, and give me a yes or a no. So my take with all of this, okay, and we've said it on the channel all season long, that with this offense playing the way it has been, if this defense just stepped up and figured their things out just to be average, this is a Super Bowl contending team. And the way that this defense has looked over the past 2 weeks, it looks like they might be starting to figure things out, okay? We're going to take a look at the same graphic, look at pretty much every week, and you're going to see a little bit of improvement. Sure, you still got 3 in the 30s and 2 in the 20s, but you went up in yards per game. You're dead last for pretty much the entire year. Yeah, you're second to last. Thank you, Jacksonville Jaguars. Yards per pass. You shot up like 3 or 4 spots. 23rd in the league. Pass percentage, you're still 31st. Yards after catch, you're still 31st. Yards after catch over expected, you're sitting at 26, okay? So, yes, they still have a long way to go. They're still 31st in the NFL when it comes to pass yards per game. But if you look at what they've done in the past 2 contests against Pittsburgh and Russell Wilson and against Los Angeles and Justin Herbert, it's easy to think that they might be turning a corner and that this might be a new look for this defense. And you know, the question going into it, it's not just all on the secondary, was will this run defense be able to step up without Roquan Smith playing? Okay, it wasn't confirmed till early before the game, but on the videos we made last week, especially on Thursday, we looked and we talked and said, okay, if he doesn't go, can this defense still step up in the run game? Because they've been fantastic all season long, but was that a Roquan Smith thing or was that just a defense overall thing? Well, they held the Chargers to only 83 yards on 20 carries and had 6 tackles for loss, okay? And so I think this defense might be rounding into form at the perfect time of the year, okay? You got 5 games left, then you got the playoffs. You need to win a lot of these last 5 to get that AFC North divisional spot, okay? And so I think this might be the perfect time for this defense to be turning a corner, okay? But I want to celebrate last night's victory. If you want to celebrate it with me, go ahead and like the video for me, okay? It's Victory Tuesday. We're getting used to Victory Mondays, but why not have a victory day on a Tuesday? So if you're excited, if you want to celebrate, go ahead and like the video. My second takeaway, and my second reason I think that this team sent a message, is because so many guys stepped up, okay? It's easy to see when Derrick Henry's going to have a good game, or Lamar's going to have a good game, or Zay Flowers is going to go off. But when you're guys who are like, you would put up in the 15th, 16th, 17th spot of like most important people on the roster, when those guys are stepping up and when those guys are making plays like a Malik Harrison, that's when you have to turn your head and go, man, this is a legit contending team. He stepped up in a big way in the absence of Roquan Smith, led the team in tackles, had 7 solo tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and had a run defense grade of 72.9. And that's exactly what you needed him to do, okay? And he wasn't the only guy who stepped up. Tons of guys on the defensive side of the ball played some big-time snaps, okay? Malik, 50 defensive snaps, 23 on special teams. Chris Board actually out-snapped Trenton Simpson, which was kind of a surprise to me, but he had 37 defensive snaps, 23 special team snaps, and then Tre'Davious White, 36 defensive snaps on the night. And for Trey White, you have just kind of seen a continuation of his snaps. They increase and increase and increase as he stays with this team longer and longer and longer. And again, I wasn't really wowed by the addition at the trade deadline, but it's looking to be that he might just be this missing piece, okay? Because again, last night, now if you look at the PFF grades, it wasn't like anything jaw-dropping, anything to write home about. But at the end of the day, he got targeted 5 times. He only let up 2 receptions for 11 yards, and he had a pass deflection on the day, okay? Now, he did have a bad pass interference. You could argue if it was pass interference or not, but still, that's a guy who's stepping up. And I expect to see every game from here on out for that snap number to go up even more. But then also, it's not just the guys on defense. It's guys like Justice Hill. Guys who say, okay, coming into this year, he knows he doesn't have a shot to be the running back one on this roster with Derrick Henry. But you know what he does? Look at this play. It's 17-16. You're up by 1. It's 3rd and goal, still 4th quarter. If you settle for a field goal here, all Los Angeles has to do is get a touchdown and they're in the lead, okay? Or excuse me, yeah, they're in the lead. All they have to do is get a touchdown. You got to score. The Chargers send a blitz. Look who's there to pick up that blitz. Right there in that red circle. Diving at the linebacker's ankles, who's probably got, what, a 60, 70-pound advantage on him, making the key block so that Lamar can throw the key throw and that Mark Andrews can make the key catch, okay? All of that happens because of Justice Hill, because he made that block right there, okay? And I think that is just a perfect picture of culture and of buy-in, okay? If you don't have a good culture on your roster, and if you don't have guys buying into what you're selling and buying into who the team is, they're not laying their bodies out on the line to make that play, okay? They might try and really give it kind of a half-ass effort, but man, he's putting his body on the line to make that block to give 8 some more time to throw. So I got a question. We went over a lot of really key people who are kind of in the background on this team. Who do you think is the unsung hero of last night's game? Okay, if I'm answering this question, I think I'm going Malik Harrison all the way, but now it's your turn to answer it for me. Coming up, we got one more takeaway, one more reason I think that the Baltimore Ravens sent a message in last night's game against Los Angeles. But before we get to that, I got to give a big shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that is our friends over at Fanatics. One of the guys who was dominant last time had 2 pass deflections for himself is Mr. Nate Wiggins. Of course he had 2. He's number 2. And if you want to rock number 2, you can head over to chatsports.com/Wiggins. You can find this jersey for $90. Guys, we are about what? Oh my gosh, it's the 26th. We're less than a month away from Christmas. That sneaks up on me. I know it's sneaking up on you if you got a dad, a brother, a cousin, an uncle, a grandparent. I don't even know. Maybe even a cousin you don't like. If you want to give them a gift, $90. You can get a Nate Wiggins jersey. Head to chatsports.com/Wiggins. Alrighty, my last takeaway and the last reason I just think they sent a message last night is they proved to people this is still the best offense in the National Football League. And if you look at their DVOA through 12 games this season, What is DVOA, you ask? I'm glad you asked that because I had to look it up earlier. So here's the definition from it. It's a team's efficiency by comparing success on every play to a league average based on situation and opponent. Okay, so it's basically like averaging out everything based on situation and opponent, and it's how did your offense perform compared to league average. They are right now 8th in the history of the NFL from 1979, or not history, but from 1979 to now through the first 12 games of the season. That means they have the 8th best offense statistically when looking at DVOA through the first 12 games of the season since 1979. My dad was like, 11 years old there? That's a long time. He's ancient now. Let's look at Derrick Henry because he had a monster night. 24 carries, 140 yards. He averaged 5.8 yards per carry. 27 was longest. Didn't find the end zone, but that didn't matter, okay? I mean, he was an absolute workhorse. We were pleading and begging Todd Monken to hand him off the football, and he did, and it proved to work for this offense. But he wasn't the only one making big plays, okay? And I think that's what makes this offense so dangerous is you can get hit in so many different directions by so many different players. Rashad Bateman had a 40-yard touchdown catch through contact, through a pass interference. Tutty. Mark Andrews absolutely mossed the Chargers safety, caught it over his back on a 3rd and goal when you're only up 1. And then Justice Hill broke off a 51-yard touchdown run, okay? So it's not just Derrick, it's not just Lamar, and it's not just Zay Flowers. But they can hit you in so many different directions with so many different weapons. And that's why I think, man, this is the team to beat. I really do. I think if the defense is rounding out like I think it might be, and this offense keeps performing the way it's been performing, it's going to be very hard to take down this team. Because you look, right? The Chargers defense played a pretty much perfect first quarter. They held this Ravens team to 20 freaking yards. 20 yards in one quarter. And they still ended the night with 30 points. That is unbelievable, okay? So if they keep rolling like they're rolling, and this defense keeps rolling like they've been rolling the past 2 games, I think this is going to be a scary team and one you don't want to face when it comes January and hopefully February. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. This is Ravens Rundown. I am your host, Joey Peterson. We're here every single day, rain, shine, holiday, not, and we want you to be here with us too, so make sure you hit that subscribe button.